Hey everybody, Dave here, Hidden Freedom Investing. In today's video, we're going to go over Fundrise. We're going to look at my 2-year update for Fundrise. They just posted Q3 dividends and the results for Q3. So we're going to go ahead and look at Q3 results along with my 2-year update because I've had this account for 2 years now. So let's go ahead and get started. So we're logged into the main page here. If you're not familiar with Fundrise, this is what the overview page looks like on Fundrise. I've done quite a few videos on Fundrise. If you want to take a look at that playlist, you can take a look at it up here. Obviously, if you looked at some of those updates, I had started this account with $1,000 and then kind of ramped it up slowly. So we got $1,000 here, just added more money there every month or so, and then I made a bigger chunk deposit there in 2019 when I sold a house, and then I got up to $15,000, and I really haven't added much since then. Now, granted, I have been draining my lending club account about 50 to 60 bucks a month. I had over $2,200 in there. And every time it gets up to about 50, 60 bucks, I've been taking that out and sticking into Fundrise. And we'll look at that here in a second as well. But just to let you know that I have been increasing a little bit just every month, pretty much almost all this year. So right now the account value is at $16,917. See here, let's look at the dividends. I just received the dividend for Q3. And it was $175, so Q3 2020 dividend, $175, that's October 8th, so that is today. Today is Thursday, October 8th. And that is a little bit of an increase from Q2 2020. And then it also was a little bit of a decline from Q1 of 2020. And then if we look at, let's see, Q3 of 2019, it was $144, and obviously I didn't have $16,900 in there at the time, but that was $144. So it looks like the dividends are down a little bit from where they really should be. We'll look at the performance here in a second. For my last update, it was literally about 2 months ago on Q2. I had 146 active projects. And that's something we'll talk about as well, because it looks like a lot of projects have been paying back, but they haven't found or they haven't invested in any new projects. So there hasn't been an update from Fundrise. They may update in the next day or two, maybe week or so. Maybe I'll make another video if they do. To kind of talk about that, but I'll kind of a little bit of speculate a little bit why I think that they haven't invested in any new projects yet. So let's go ahead and look at the performance here. So we're looking at the performance page here, and we'll kind of compare it against Q2. So here's Q3 results. Income E-REIT there 1.8%, growth E-REIT there 3.7%, East Coast E-REIT 2.5%, Heartland 1.2%, West Coast there 1%, National E Fund, that dreaded National E Fund there, still ramping up, and that's the one that generates that dreaded K1 that everybody hates, and I hate it as well. So income E-REIT 2, 1.2% there, growth E-REIT 0.5%, income E-REIT 3, 2.5%, and then growth E-REIT 3.8%. Income E-REIT 2019 2.1, income E-REIT 5.2, and then balanced E-REIT is still ramping up at 0. So let's going to compare some of these, a couple of these to Q2. So we had 1.8, that's a little bit decline from Q2 there. So Q3 is a little bit down. And then we had a big increase there on the growth E-REIT from Q2. That's substantial. So they probably had a project or two that got paid back on the growth E-REIT there. And there's a big increase there because we had a minus 1.8 there in the heartland of Q2. So Q3 we got 1.2%. And then let's see, 0.7, so that's down. National E Fund, I'm not really sure what's going on there. Maybe some of the things are getting paid back there. We have to look at that maybe a little more in depth. So income, it's pretty much the same. Big decrease there in the growth E-REIT 3. And then we got a little bit of a decrease there in the Income E-REIT 2019. So overall, we had 1.3% return for this quarter, and the last quarter is 1.4%. So far, year to date, we're at 4.3%. And you know, two months ago I did an update video, and I was pretty much thinking we're going to end at 5 to 6% for the end of this year, which is down. That is not typically what this platform usually provides. It usually is about 7 or 8%, upwards or middle of 8% or so. But we are in the middle of a pandemic, and they got hit by it as well, just like every other REIT out there trade on the stock market. So looking down here, we got Growth E-REIT there, 3.8%. That one probably had a couple of projects got paid back. I'd have to go back and look at the history to see if that was the case. But so if we go back down here, we got dividends and unpaid dividends, and then we got the appreciation here. A lot of appreciation got paid back there. And you know, obviously we still have quite a bit of a stake in that particular fund. If we go back to performance here, and let's just look at that National E Fund there, because it was invested in some projects earlier this year. So there is 32 projects in there, and that is 100% equity. So that's the reason why it's not generating anything. Once something gets paid back, it will generate some income. It should be nothing from dividends, and right here it just shows nothing from dividends, so because there's no debt in there, so it's not going to provide anything in dividends. So we'll just have to wait for something to get paid back, and that's like a lot of that stuff is just rehabs and stuff that they're doing on those projects. So let's go ahead and look at the portfolio here, and this is the portfolio. These are all the REITs that I am in, and then that one National E Fund there. And I'm also getting into a new one as well, because the dividends got reinvested. I have dividend reinvestment turned on, and that is actually getting invested in a new E-REIT. Although it's been around for a while, it might not have been open to new capital, but we'll look at that here in a second. So right now, the Growth E-REIT 2 there is 13.9% of the portfolio. Income E-REIT 2 there is 11%. And then the National E Fund is 10%, and Income E-REIT is 10%, and then it kind of just declines from there a little bit. I've been directly investing in a lot of these, most of the incomes, because I'm trying to get the debt to be a little bit higher. So if we look at the transactions here, so looking at the transactions, let's just go back to, let's see. So the last update was right around July 9th. So there was the dividend reinvestment, $129. And then all these 50, 50, 58, 59, and then I got another 59 up here, was all the stuff that came out of Lending Club pretty much once a month or so. And then I invested into Income E-REIT 5, Income E-REIT, Income E-REIT, Income E-REIT 2, and then Income E-REIT 2. And then my dividends that I just received, those are going to get reinvested into West Coast E-REIT, E-REIT, that's 14, excuse me. I don't know my Roman numerals apparently. That's a pretty new one, even though I looked at it. We'll look at that one here in a second, but that one I had never seen before, but it does have, I don't think it has any projects in it, even though they said it's been around, according to the date, it says 2019, so that's interesting. And then Income E-REIT there as well. So like I said, I try to put everything into the income if I can by directly investing. Now obviously with the dividend reinvestments, I don't have any control over where that's going necessarily. But all these ones down here, these 50, 59, 58, 52, 50s, I can directly pick which ones those get invested into. If you want to directly invest into any one of these E-REITs, you can just go to https://fundrise.com/offerings page. That will bring you to the offerings page. As long as you're not a starter portfolio, you should have the option to invest in any one of these E-REITs if they're open. Okay, not all of them are open, all right? So if we look at Income E-REIT 3 here, and we do view details, that one is not open, all right? Now it says inquire. If it's actually open to investments, it will have a direct investment link down here. We'll look at one of those here so you can see what I'm talking about. Let's go to the Income E-REIT 5 here and take a look at that one. And that one is not open to direct investment right now either. So let's find one that actually is. So Income E-REIT 2019, and that one is not open to take a new capital at this time either. So here we're looking at Income E-REIT, and that one is allowing for direct investment. So there's the link I'm talking about right there. So you can click on that, and then you'll have the option to direct invest into that E-REIT if you want to invest in an E-REIT directly. If you enjoyed this Fundrise update video, go ahead and like and subscribe and hit that bell notification. So scrolling down here, just look at that E-REIT 14 there. That's one I had not seen before, and there's 0 projects in it. And it said, its funny thing is it's December 2019, so it's been almost, what, 9-10 months that it's actually been in existence, but there's no capital in there. Excuse me, there's no projects in there. So, but they are allowing you to directly invest in that, and that's part of where my dividends went. It went directly into that particular E-REIT. So that's kind of going to be dead money until a project actually gets invested in there. So looking at the recent activity here, let's go back. Let's just scroll down to, say, like down to July or so. So a lot of projects been getting paid back, and there has been a lot of progress updates as well. So if we kind of just scroll down here to around July when I did the last update, one of my projects completed successfully. All right, here's another one. One of my projects completed successfully. Okay, there's a project update there. There's a, let's see, we acquired a new project, so that's good. That was an equity one. And if you click on these, you can find out which E-REIT they're in as well. There's a project update there. There's one that got completed successfully. That was a debt. And then we had another one here, August 13th. That was a progress report. We had another progress report there August 14th, and then we had another one there at August 27th. And then we had, let's see here, a project completed successfully, another debt structure there, and a realized return of 8.8%. And we had another one here, project report, September 11th. And then we had another progress report there, September 16th, another progress report there, September 16th. And another one there on September 24th. And then there's another one there on September 30th that got completed successfully. So there's a lot of projects that have been completed successfully, getting paid back, which is basically taking money, paying me back, putting it into the E-REIT, but it's not technically invested in another project yet. So what that's going to do is going to lower my returns until that gets put into another project. All right, so all my projects here have been going down since the beginning of the year. Just the last update, it was like I said, it was about 145, 146. And the reason I think that's happening is because the last update that Fundrise provided, they pretty much said that they think there's going to be more foreclosures happening. It's just going to take a little while to flush those out, maybe later this year, maybe even next year. And they want to pick up some of those projects, those new investments at a discount. So they are probably saving their capital at this point. And obviously this is just a little bit of speculation here on my part. I'm just kind of reading between the lines a little bit. They said it 2 months ago. And I kind of see that they haven't been investing in a lot of projects. It looks like they only invested in one new project since the last update, and a lot more have been paid back. So right now we are up about 4-point-something% this year, and I think we'll end up the end of the year probably around 5 to 6% or so. You might be thinking that's not very good, Dave, and I actually think it is pretty good. Now if we compare this against the VNQ Vanguard VNQ, that is down 10% year to date. All right, now I'm up 4% year to date. Okay, so if you want to invest in an E-REIT, or excuse me, if you want to invest in a REIT that has a lot of different REITs, a part of this ETF, that's similar to what Fundrise is. Fundrise, in my opinion, is kind of like an ETF because it's invested in a lot of different REITs. It's real estate in the commercial sector. It's residential, it's fix and flips, it's built from scratch, it's rehabs and all that stuff as well. In my opinion, kind of Fundrise is kind of like a VNQ in a way. Obviously, it's not diversified quite as much. It doesn't have as many projects or anything like that, but it is nationally. My Fundrise account is invested all over the country, in real estate, the commercial side and residential side. So I feel like I'm pretty well diversified across, the whole nation and all that as well, including single family homes. And I'm not down for 10% on it as well. I'm actually up 4%, all right? So that's just one thing to consider there. If you were invested in VNQ, you'd be down 10% year to date. There was somebody that left a comment on my last video saying, these returns are terrible and, I just can't wait to get my money back. And I'm like, well, obviously the longer you're in the platform, the more money you're gonna make, the more higher return you're gonna have because they're gonna be invested in more projects as well. And right now we're in the middle of a pandemic, so things are a little bit slower than normal. But I do think things will pick up eventually, and expect about 7 or 8% out of it as a long-term investment. Just remember that, all right? 8% I'm completely happy with. So if you're looking to sign up for Fundrise, you don't already have an account, go ahead and use a friend or family member's link if you have a friend or family that has an account already. If you don't, you're more than welcome to use my link. You'll get 90 days of free advisory fees, okay? There's been 13 people that have signed up through my link already, and I do appreciate that. Obviously that's 2,000 days there. That's many years, right? Like I said, if you have a friend or family, go ahead and use theirs first. If you don't have any friends or don't have any family that have a Fundrise account, feel free to use this link here. You'll get 90 days of free advisory fee. So hope you enjoyed this update. If Fundrise does do an update, they put an update on the platform and their investing strategy into that going forward for Q4 or something like that, I will go ahead and make another update as well. I'll probably make another one for Q4 end of the year as well. So until then, go ahead and like and subscribe. We'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.